welcome back to another episode of She Talks with Bravo Sistah TV. And I am Sha Jones. I'm the founder of Bravo Sistah, as well as the host for this particular series. And I'm excited to talk to my friend. I'm glad I can call him my friend, and a wonderful, amazing speaker, soon to be author, but he's also the DEI leader at Amazon. He heads up the infinity groups for Amazon for the entire organization. And he's also a avid philanthropist doing a lot of great work in the Seattle area, Mr. Jesse Rhodes. Welcome.
Such an honor. Thank you. Love seeing you. Yes, you're an amazing soul, amazing friend. So pleasure to be here today.
So I'm excited about this interview because I met you working with a group of people doing some work internationally, and we developed a relationship. And I've seen you do some amazing things. You travel a lot. You're an avid traveler. You actually, let me do this. You tell us who you are. Tell us what you want us to know about you, Jesse.
No, I love that too. And for those that love to know about vacay, how you balance life, they got to listen to other podcasts about that. So we won't give away the ducats on that. That was a fun one too. So definitely check it out. I would say one is Happy International Women's Month. I'm embracing and blessing to be a part of all that within the world of Amazon and beyond. I'll share a little bit about the word affinity. For us, it's like folks will say employee resource groups, which we have a group of those. And we also have other communities within Amazon. And my journey, I grew up as a finance person. I'm a finance accountant, risk, IT controls, still that person. And I've always wanted to do greater in the space of DEI. And so Amazon gave me the space to do that and switch from my finance world over into the human resources world. And I've always, since I was in college, been a part of groups like Black Employee Network. Well, back then it's called BSU, Black Student Union, right? I was part of different other councils at Drexel University. And then I went to the corporate world, similar. I was involved with recruiting, diversity hiring, and so forth. And so coming to Amazon and getting a chance to be that business partner and doing work in the DEI space over the years within Amazon Web Services, someone grabbed me up and said, Jesse, you've been doing all this work with councils and committees and affinity groups. Why not jump over here? And you know what? It's been a blessing. And so I think about a chance to drive the strategy and the vision that really enables the collective voice of Amazon employees, communities to shape the culture, right, of Amazon being the best employer, and reflect the voices of our customers globally, and enabling us to build a more inclusive product and services. That's the vision that's embraced within that work we do. And for me, I had this, you can see what I'm doing anyway, this little screwdriver that's on my desk is next to me. I don't know if you can see what it says. I'll read to it. It says on here, remove the boardroom door. And I really believe in that as I travel and navigate, I don't want to just open the door for us for possibilities. I want to take the door off. That's what drives and motivate me, and making sure that our collective voices are in the room. And one quick tie to, I remember years ago, my connected fabric and passion to support women in particular. It was years ago, I was working in corporate America. I think I was at Walmart at the time, and it was a session that they were hosting around angry Black women. And I was like, what the heck is this? I didn't know what that meant. So I went to the session. Now here I am, a people leader, managing teams and so forth. And that term was unique to me. This is about 10 plus years ago. So I go to it and I'm hearing this session how the same attributes that we hold men to high standards to be strong and have your position and which helps you accelerate in your career. When a female does it, it's seen being, she's, being mean, not cooperative. And you add on another layer of being a Black female, again, doing the same thing that they're seeing, mimicking in corporate America that make white males successful and black males too was holding back. And I realized at that moment, like, oh my gosh, how many times have I been in a room when we're doing an evaluation and someone will down level or essentially help remove someone from a black female from a promotion opportunity where their counterpart was being rewarded, and I missed that cue. I missed that moment. And for me, I felt I can't take the reverse back, but daggone for sure am committed going forward to make sure that I am supported in that room, to make sure that if I see those things happen, we address it, make it visible, and making sure that we accelerate, promote, and support our leaders. So that's something that I've been committed to and got involved in organizations like the Wonder Women here in Seattle, as well as my commitment to our affinity groups, Women's at Amazon, and Wi-Fi, which is Women in Finance and Engineering. So I'm committed. I'm here. I love it. And this is why I do. That's who I am.
Love it. And thank you for the story. Thank you for just giving us a more in-depth version of who you are so that people can really understand the work you do. So with that, I'm going to ask my very first question, and that is this. We're going to talk about the International Women's Day theme, which is inspire inclusion. And as a male advocate in the DEI space, as well as an ally in that space, what does that mean for you?
Man, the first thing is I would say, and folks were watching, everybody say, hallelujah, thank you, is men, we have to be advocates and supporters for our women. That means listen more than talk. Listen to understand. Listen to disconfirm your belief. Listen to support. You may not know all the reasons why, and that's okay. Trust what's being said and shared, and support. I always say our women are strong. My mama, strong, love her. Never, she just went to battle 2 jobs, raising children. She needs love and compassion too. And so understand, yes, our women are strong, can carry a lot on their back and show and raise family. It does not mean they don't need us to be present and near and supporting and taking the wounds and taking the battles on with them. So that's my cry out to make sure that we listen to understand, we listen to disconfirm our beliefs, we listen to be present and support. That's my biggest call out. If you get nothing else from today, please, men, do that.
I think that's extremely important. And I think that's the real disconnect of oftentimes, not only in male and female relationships, but interactions entirely, is that neither one of us are actually listening. And listening to understand is extremely important, because you can hear me, but if you aren't engaged enough to actually hear the words that are coming out my mouth with empathy and understanding, then we have a disconnect. And so I'm glad that you mentioned that. I want to now go back to talk about something that you just mentioned in your in-depth introduction, was the Angry Black Woman seminar that you went to. Now, I'm always getting labeled as this, that, or the other, and a lot of time around what is our strength. As a Black woman, I can say I walk into a room and you may not get the hey, of it all. You may get the I came to be aggressive. And it's not to take anything away from who I am or what I am or how I'm showing up, but the labeling. Let's talk about the labeling, because the labeling can disenfranchise us and takes away from our power. Because, like you said, for a woman to walk in a row, or I'm a Black woman, so I'm representing for Black, right? So I'm walking into the room, and the first thing is, she's angry because she came with an agenda, and I'm focused on solving a problem. And so I put some oomph in it because that's who I am, right?
Yeah.
So why do I have to be labeled as angry Black woman? And more importantly, talk to the fact that as a Black man, how does that number one make you feel in spaces, especially let's talk about corporate America because you're in corporate America. How does that make you feel when you see that we're being labeled as such, as an ally? How do you feel?
Powerful question. I would say I have a book coming out, and one thing that I share my personal story, my truth, and also I'm sharing a similar memoir with my university, Drexel University. And in both cases, I start off when I say I'm unapologetically Black.
Mm,
And I say
powerful.
this powerfully up front in a room. I just did it recently in one of my team meetings, and I might represent what maybe 20, 10%, 20% of the room is Black, if that. And I said it there too. The reason why I share that is when you can lean in and comfortably own your space and own your truth and own your power, you're unstoppable. What folks would try to do is throw terms like that out to stop your power. It's like, remember back in high school and elementary school, the bullies and the kids that would pick on you, laugh. Most cases, you go back and analyze your earlier version of yourself. We were so focused to try and be like everyone else. We were so trying not to stand out. We didn't want to have the different shoes. We didn't want to have the different glasses. We didn't want to be too tall or too short. We didn't want anything to make us be obvious, to be separate from the rest, to get picked on. That logic has never left. It exists in the corporate space. It exists in our family and friends, right? Where folks will want to make you small. By making you small, I can crush your thoughts, your opinion, what you're going in your past. So I can accelerate. I'm gonna step on you to get up higher. So my challenge back to us is realizing that the power of being a Black woman and the experience and the fortitude is undeniable to be replaced by anyone. That strength of being resilient, and just I can go on for that. I get goosebumps when I think about it. Who are we to even think we could make the Black women small? So I start there first. So when you hear it, understand. So what is what? So is what they want to say. Who cares? It has no weight. If they throw the mud at you, it doesn't have to stick. Let it brush right off. When you lean in with your professionalism and your approach and your authentic self, guess what? You will be heard. And if you're not being heard in that format, then you don't need to be there. They don't deserve you. Period. And so I
Glad
think
you
about
said that. Okay, go ahead.
no, when I think about the word inclusion, about DEI, the inclusion as we define here at Amazon, and I embrace it too in my own, is really inclusion is providing an environment where our people, our employees feel valued, trusted, connected, informed, and not or. It has to be feel valued, trusted, connected, and be informed. And so you apply those, and you feel that if you get any resistance to that, then that place is not inclusion for you. And then I think we have to take and embrace our power and move elsewhere when it comes up. And don't be bullied. Go ahead now. What you got?
Well, no, I'm glad that you mentioned all of that. Because oftentimes, and I, my last corporate job, I was, in a role of the head of the diversity and inclusion aspect of the organization. And, my issue was that you can't give lip service to diversity and inclusion aspects. If you have a diversity and inclusion agenda within your organization, it behooves you to value the words that you put on those papers and collectively bring people together so that they feel like they actually belong at that organization and that they can tie. Because listen, at the end of the day, you give a whole lot of your time, energy, and effort to being at a place. Actually, you spend more time at work than you spend at home, right? And so if I can't be seen, heard, and appreciated, then I can't be there no way. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
However, people need jobs, right? And sometimes it's easier to grin and bear it than it is to remove yourself from a situation and find something that's more cohesive to your being. So, with that being said, as a Black man in the DEI space who is an advocate and an ally for women who are showing up, like, what would be your advice um, for a woman who doesn't feel like, this is the place for me. I'm not being seen or heard, or,
Mhm.
I'm showing up as my authentic self and I'm being categorized as this, that, or the other. That doesn't really
Mm.
apply to me. I'm really just showing up to do the work.
I love that question. And this applies, I think, for both women and men. And it's something I'm learning daily is um, we're powerful when we work together. And so having mentors and advocates and sponsors that you can trust both within the company you're working at and also outside is so critical. Someone where you can be vulnerable enough to share what you're experiencing. Because what happens in your share is two things. One is yourself and or the listener can see barriers that we put in amongst our own self. Sometimes how we are processing things ourselves and internalizing off of work we need to do from our past life of healing and trauma that's present, that's resurfacing at any on-site of similarity of an event that's taking place. So one is, hey, help me get out of my own way. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, that person that knows you can help you package up where and how you are delivering results, right? And so it can be how you're presenting it. A lot of cases, we as humans, we will talk and share things with people with the assumption that they understand or know where we're coming from. And I'm telling you right now, it is no way impossible someone can think what you're thinking. Only you have that thought that's in your mind at that present moment based off of your category of logged experience in your life that help you came to that conclusion. No one can repeat that, not even your twin, right? Because that twin has a different lived experience too. So when you're able to share and help provide clarity and purpose in your intentions, then people can align and support. And so the more you have your trusted tribe around you is how I encourage. I feel none of us can do this alone. And that means you can get some stuff feed forward. And I say feed forward. One of my cool mentees, and now I say he mentors me too. He told me before, you can't call it feedback because you can't go back, but you can apply it forward. So now I've instituted feed forward. So when you get that feed forward insight from your, trust me, if someone is willing to give you advice and feed forward insight, that means they really care about you because they cannot say anything. And so for us is realizing when you receive that information is how you're being perceived or how you are being occurring to that individual. Does not mean you're that person. A lot of times you get stuck like, oh, it's not me. I'm not that. I'm not that. I'm not that. We're not saying that's who you are, but this is what happens based on how you are being perceived. Now,
Mm-hmm.
how we have as humans, we can manage that. We can say we're okay with how
Hold on, Jesse.
being
You're
that strong person to change that.
Jesse. We're getting feedback. It's garbled right now. So let's see your video too.
Oh no. Yeah. Oh no.
Let's see. Um,
We'll
so
go back
start
and ask.
so start
We'll
back
answer
over
again.
with the author's name in the book, and then tell us.
Oh, pause it. I'm gonna get the let me see if I got it. uh that way I can sound cooler as if I already knew I was gonna say that. Hold up. Bummer. Uh, um, I mean, she just called it Pros of Wisdom. Yeah, I got the book. Okay, you ready? Want to
Mhm.
ask the question again?
Yeah,
All right.
so I'll have the question because I just ad-libbed the question. But tell us who the author is and the book.
Yes, yes. So this book by Carla Harris called Expect to Win. And she included 10 strategies around thriving in the workplace. And what caught my attention was her pearls of wisdom. And one of it was around changing the perception around where you want to drive. You're your own author of your own destiny. So when you get feedback or feed forward from people, that's a gift. Folks don't owe you that. We often get defensive and want to shut it down and reason why we're not that. And you're missing the lesson in itself. Lesson is how you are occurring to someone else. And then leveraging that to say, okay, what do I want to paint as my picture going forward? And so in her book, she was sharing about her own journey to become partner at this law firm and how her peers were telling her she had to be stronger and more tough. And so she made it fun how she showed up in the room being stronger and tough. Right. And of course it worked. But that's not saying she wasn't that already. She had to be intentional to alter how she's being perceived in that workplace. So my long answer there really is have your tribe around you, solicit the folks you trust that really do support you and are advocates, hear them and understand that's how you are occurring. And then you have a choice at that point of how you want to alter that occurrence. So that'd be my biggest advice.
Okay. What, and I'm glad you mentioned the rooms because my next question is where do you see room for growth when it comes to inclusion in your industry and community? And how can we derive that? Or how can that drive change?
Mm. The biggest room I'll say I see Lean is really dive into that the equity, right? From diversity, again, that's more the combination of unique skills and backgrounds, experiences, cultural, and you name it. I think we as a culture collectively get that and understand the importance of representation and also retention that comes along with it. That's the inclusion part. Once you see me, how you help me belong and stay and feel connected, we still have great opportunity in the the equity. And that part is how we drive not equality, but equity in the sense of fairness to access opportunities, tools to help us advance. That it comes in three ways. How do we make sure that our policies and our procedures and our stands has that equitable outcomes that we desire? How our process. So anyway, for me, I think the opportunity we really have is to dive into equity and seeing where things by the foundation itself is broken. How do we have an opportunity to fix and go into the foundation or build upon the foundation or add to the foundation to make sure equity is in place? That's how I see.
Okay. And I agree. I think that we do need to be more equitable. I'm just gonna throw this question because
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
recently, recently we heard, uh, there was a promotion of one of our good black movies. And there was some things that came up in the promotional aspect of this movie, right?
Mhm.
And one of our actresses, Taraji P. Henson, mentioned how there was a lack of equity in, pay equity and representation equity, all these different things. But um, she showed a lot of vulnerability in that space to talk about what wasn't happening. And oftentimes those things like representation, pay equity and showing up and being a woman in a space and not having the same rights and the same things given, like, if I'm an actress, I'm gonna use her, and I'm an A-list actress, versus a D-list actress. There's certain things that I would appreciate, but also expect, right? And there has been a lot of conversation around the money and asking for what you're due, but more importantly, because you are at a certain level, that we should start somewhere, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't bottom me into a situation. So talk a little bit about that, because oftentimes women show up, especially in corporate America, and we're given the very least, especially if we're Black women. Like, we're making way less than women of Caucasian persuasion, right? And
Yeah.
so it is, and we're not always taught, right, about negotiation
Mm.
and how to negotiate our pay. And not only that, when you compare men to women, it's a huge disparity.
Yeah.
How do we, if we just go off of the fact of being equitable, how do we have those conversations where women, people of color, everybody that's marginalized, can walk into the door and have conversations about equity when there's such a gap in that space?
Totally. Oh my gosh, you're correct. And that same book I referenced to, Carl Harris, dies in that too, as far as women in particular, and making sure you know your worth and be paid as such. Also, another book too that comes to my mind is The Black Tax, which I may have mentioned before, but The Black Tax by Sean Rochester. It really highlights in all the areas where, to your point, the disparity that exists with from even purchasing a car, the price you negotiate the price down to is still higher than the starting point of your white counterpart walks in that same dealership for the same as that car. Where is this constant fight to just get what deserved, is this tax that's added on to us. Our property values are worth far lower, right? The other communities, we buy a house and we have to pay a higher interest rate for that home insurance or that auto insurance. And so this tax that we're constantly being hit with exists. And not to get political, they exist in both the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. And so I share that as an example, saying that, one, acknowledging that's the first start, realizing and revealing that the truth behind that tax exists. Two, you're right, we have to have the conversation. I'm so happy that she leaned into it. Now, of course, the media wants to turn back on ourselves. I don't like that part, how we try to flip it back to Oprah and Corporate Color Purple and those connection pieces there. But the root of what she's really saying is, hey, here's someone that's in the industry for this long time, and I'm still having to fight to get my what I've been deserving and worked so hard for. And I feel that in corporate America. I feel that today. I'm like, I've been in the industry for 25 plus years, and I'm still trying to fight for the knowledge and experience I bring to the table to get paid what I should get paid. And I folks that don't look like me, half my age, making my side, if not more. And so and I share that in realization that we understand that that's still present. So my one takeaway is, one, let's not be shit. We need to cross share and support each other and have the conversation, because then the conversation makes it visible, right? Two, understand the tax is all upon us. Folks do and will pay you what they think you're comfortable with. Hard stop. Hey, I'm a building a team, and I know you're willing to take $5 less per hour than, and I know you're awesome, but you're okay with it, you're happy. Guess what? I'm gonna pay you $5 less per hour because you're happy and you're gonna take it, right? And so us understand how money works. People are going to pay you only what they can possibly pay you that you're comfortable with. we have to make them uncomfortable. So if you really want the value, what we're bringing to the table, into the conversation, and the work that I'm bringing, and we have the data, and we know the data, right? What I should be paying that market. You asked for it. I remember my first couple of jobs, offer letter. I was so excited. I took it, accepted it the way it was as such. As I progressed from my Deloitte Tuesdays to Walmart, to Target, from Target to Amazon, my network started giving me insights about no, Jesse. Have the conversation, do the research based on that job responsibility, what they're asking of you to do based on the number of reports that you have and the scope of your work. Research what that really means and say, listen, hey, I don't care what I made in my prior role. What you're asking me requires this. And you want me to deliver it, which I know I can. You know I can. Hence why you're offering me this role. I deserve that. And that doesn't just apply for new jobs coming to new companies. That applies internally as well. And say, hey, market has reset. This is the value of the work I'm producing at. Let's have the conversation. Let's revisit it. And this is why I should be worked. So I think us being comfortable sharing and educating why. And yes, unfortunately, it's a fight still, y'all. But instantly, the more we have of it, the more we can normalize it. Say, oh, you know what? As an employer, I am tired of having this conversation. You know what? Upgrade everyone's comp to here. That's what will happen. You have to create a sense of urgency for them to take action. And I love a lot of big companies, Amazon included, made very visible on our websites, equity pay. You can see our pay now, real-time data about where we at and the disparities against different demographics, including gender. So that was a hard push to make us and other companies share that number. Now, as like a human, same with companies, we don't want to look bad, right? So if I have to share now my numbers, I'm going to work to improve those numbers because I don't want to look bad. And that's how you shift. Like what's going to drive change is a company don't want to look bad by having that disconnect and how they're showing up. And the way you drive them to look bad is being vocal about what your needs are. And us talking collectively and having that conversation about compensation makes sense. I don't know why we don't talk about it. And Jay-Z said a long time ago, what you eat don't make me go to the bathroom. You said it for me, right? And so it's true. So why not talk about what you're eating? Let me know what you're eating so I can eat too. We could all eat together. This whole I'm not gonna tell you what I'm eating and keep you small makes no sense. You can be big, just as big, if not larger, and then you can teach me. I can grow too. That's how we grow the pie. That's how we grow the opportunity. That's how we grow collectively and break the disconnect.
I have one last question, but because you just said that, I do want to expound a little bit more on that because I think in our community, talking about African Americans, um, we have it really bad where I'm not disclosing nothing. I'm gonna keep this for myself, and I don't want to see you get bigger than me. Um, and that does us a disservice. Number one, you should only be competing with yourself. Number two, there's enough for everybody to get fed, especially when we all cooking together, right? But then there's the other aspect of it is that, when you are doing good and you are a real educator, a teacher, or a pusher of anything that is to excel especially within a community, the object should be for you to help somebody be greater than you, because that's the true essence of being a perfection, right? When I help champion you and I'm not tripping off the fact that you gonna step above me, because that was the whole purpose. The whole purpose of me teaching was so that you can get what I didn't get, right? Is I'm going back and then we're gonna get some more. But
yes,
we don't tend to do that. Talk about why you think that happens. And in the DEI space, how we do a disservice to our collective as we move forward.
Man, oh man, if you look into how to keep, crabs in the bucket, right? is that very notion that we don't pull each other up and help each other out. In other case, we push each other down,
Mm-hmm.
and we think that's survival. That's learned over generations, and so we have to break that. It's a lie. It's a lie. Pushing someone down so you can get up, you go absolutely nowhere. If actually you're all collectively sinking. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lie. The only way we're actually going to thrive is by pulling each other up. And another lie, guarantee in your life, right? You'll have a case with someone that was your peer or reported to you or was a level below you. That will be one day your boss. It will happen. They went to a different company or it rose up. So I always say you treat each person, your mentee, your boss, your peers, the same. Grow together because that one day and your life shifts or whatever, you're going to rely on them too. And I've seen in my 25 plus year career, all those examples take place, right? Where my friends that were years behind me in college now are CEOs, CFOs, CIOs of respective companies doing amazing, beautiful things, partners, entrepreneurs, right? I've seen other way where my boss now reports to me. So it shifts and life happens. And this sense of a hierarchical growth is the meaning of success is misunderstood. We all serve different purposes at different points of time and are aligned as such. And don't let our ego get in the way of opportunity. And so for me, it's that the world, I have a quote called the world out there is desperate to make the impact that only you can make. Each one of us have a distinct, unique purpose and value. And if you look for that and seek that in each individual and how we can groom it, grow it, and uplift it, only then we will accelerate and be powerful collectively and break out of this constant churn of going nowhere because we continue to push each other down. And it's like being in quicksand. It's a picture we're in quicksand right now. Instead of me
Mm-hmm.
helping you out, we're pushing each other back down. And guess what? We're all sinking. Does that make any logic?
It doesn't, and yet we continuously do it, and that's one of the problems where we can't even think about inspiring inclusion because we're not inclusive of ourselves, right? And that's a real issue. My last question for you. So how can men continue supporting diversity efforts beyond International Women's Day and National Women's Month? And what long-term impact would you like to see in achieving equity?
I love that question. And I love the celebration, acknowledgement of the month and day. And we all know every day is Women's History Day. And I actually have a cool friend I met named Carl Mack. He's the past president for the NAACP here in Seattle. And this speaks to your question is how we all make impact from our seat. So in his case, he actually went out and created a calendar. Every day, 365 days, there's a history notation where a Black woman made history change. He ain't stopped there. He also went and worked with some of our, folks we know, the big companies to say, how do you make this searchable? When someone asks, hey, what history happened today? Data comes up and share. So I share as an example of we all, from our unique seats, has an opportunity to influence change. Right now, my current role is working with affinity groups. So what am I doing to make sure I empower and uplift and support our women's organizations within Amazon? I have the opportunity to do so from that seat I sit in. I'm also the board chair of a nonprofit called After School All Star, looking at the young middle school students, that prime age to inspire our youth to seek opportunities that they can't necessarily see visible day to day for themselves. That's an opportunity for me to empower these young, amazing little ladies to be their greatness, right? So I ask back to ourselves is where in your unique seat do you have an opportunity to influence and affect change? If we look for others to do it, we're missing the mark. It's the collective selves, each of us have the opportunity and the necessity to do it from our seat. That's how I see we shift it. So I may be in DEI today. I may be back in finance tomorrow, or running my business, or I'm doing my book speaking. I have the responsibility to make sure that I'm continuing to lean in my own self work. Where am I at stop? Where am I at block? Where I need to unlearn areas to improve my support to the collective community, and how do I then distribute and share it externally to others as well. That's how we improve equity. That's how we lean into our own work and our responsibilities and our need to share it out as well.
That was going to be my last question, but I'm going to lean in a little bit more and make this a personal question.
I knew you had
So,
more. I know you had more.
um, you have a mother, a Black mother. You have a Black sister. You have a Black daughter who is beautiful. And you also have a Black partner. And I think that's admirable, especially for a Black man who has risen to the place that you are, especially in the corporate work that you have done, the philanthropy work that you've done. You have a business. Y'all go check him out in Seattle. If you're in Seattle, go to his restaurant. Um, and you can tell them a little bit about that as well. But how do you show up in your personal life for the women that you have and that you have to advocate for and be an ally for personally?
I love that question. Oh my gosh, that's why I need you to lean into your work and sharing your supporting and not just enforcing your views on folks. So for me, thank you for that space, and I smile, especially I think about my lady, my love. She's a force to be reckoned with, and I see her. I see who she is as a human, a soul. And today we did a little moments of affirmation for each other because I needed an uplift. And I really appreciate her doing that. And I do the same with her. And I think we have to realize that we have to continue to support and give those affirmations and the points of infliction, decisions, and challenges. I got some tough decisions to do at work. And that's heavy on my soul. And she saw that. And there's things that she has to do when she's preparing for a performance or a show or her next movie or her next speech. I lean in and say, hey, how can I be there? How can I be a support? How can I love on you? And so that's why I see from a partner, from my sister, is like I go back to our sibling days, right? And how I be that friend, not just her brother, and how I can listen to her and have a chance to have adult conversation. She has 4 girls. And so sometimes she just wants adult conversations. Like, hey, can we just talk? Yes, let's talk and connect and be present. Key word. And then my mom, again, she's tough. My mom and dad still married 54 years. And,
Mm.
she both retired and they both at home. Sometimes I need you to talk besides this with your dad. And just being present and support. So for me is that equity in relationships. What you do with your mom versus your partner. And my daughter, my baby girl. Oh my gosh, she is so smart and so smart in what she wants to share. And I have to give that space and listen and let her know I'm listening. And I give her some homework to do. Say, hey, listen, there's some things your dad just doesn't know. I probably won't ever know. But I'm grateful to know that you're super smart and sharp. She's in school for robotics engineering. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine her studies and classes. And I said to her, hey, help me understand finances. Help me understand what you're diving into. Help me learn together and let her know I see her value. So for me, it's letting and celebrate and embracing. And that means, hey, it could be pick up the trash, go cook a meal at night. It could be, hey, just listen to me. Don't give solutions. Definitely don't gaslight. That's bad, guys. Don't gaslight. Trust me. And just be there. Just be there. And so I've always pride myself on having a very inclusive network. I do. I got friends of all backgrounds in different countries. I'm blessed because I grew up in Deloitte and Touche, where I travel around the world. I could have friends in Egypt to to Latin America to UK to all across the US, all demographics and backgrounds. And I've dated across that realm too. But it's nothing like being home with your Black beautiful partner. So I love that embrace. It's just conversations that we have that it just happens. And then we can finish each other's songs. We hear a song on the radio, not even radio, we can hear a term. You can drop a term out to me right now. I can correlate it to a song. And we start saying the words of the song. Well, I try. I'll get to like one phrase and I'm done. She'll go the whole entire verse. And you can't teach that. That's just live life. She from Brooklyn. I'm from Philadelphia. And so having those cool live life moments, those really help nurture the foundation of that friendship as well as that partnership to help you thrive. So thank you for that beautiful question to ask. Thank you for sneaking that one in there.
Not a problem at all. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you for showing up and doing the work that you do in DEI. I also want to show up, or excuse me, thank you for showing up and being authentically Black. I also want to thank you for being an ally and an advocate for women. But more importantly, I want to just thank you for celebrating and applauding the women that are in your life and the women that you work with and the women that you are doing work for and being very intentional about that. So thank you for joining me here on Bravo Sistah and She Talks. And I would love to have another conversation
Of
on a different
course.
day about something else.
You know we have to. You know I love you. I appreciate it. And yes, we have to. That's a must. Spoken into existence.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And for all of you who are watching, continue to watch the web series as I continue to talk to other professionals in the DEI or area about inclusion and what it means to inspire inclusion. Until next time, bye.